Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Ethan Mitchell and today we're going to put the new Parrot Anafi against the DJI Mavic Air. Welcome back guys. First we're going to go over the physical aspects of the drones, then quickly go through the apps, and finally show footage of the different camera settings. So on to the drones. The Anafi weighs in at 317 grams. That's 113 grams less than the DJI Mavic Air at 430 grams. The Anafi battery is 2700 milliamp hours and weighs 126 grams. That's 14 grams less than the Mavic Air's battery at 140 grams with 2,375 milliamp hours. The Anafi has a 25-minute flight time, which I have found to be very accurate. The Mavic Air has an advertised flight time of 21 minutes, but in my testing with the obstacle avoidance and APAS off, I have been able to reach 19 minutes. Using both of these features on, I've only been able to get 15 minutes. The Anafi has a higher power to weight ratio, so naturally we're going to see better flight times. Folded, the Anafi measures 9 3/4 inches long, 2 3/4 inches wide, and 2 1/4 inches tall. The Anafi case measures 11 inches long, 3.5 inches wide, and 3 inches tall. The Mavic Air folded measures 6 3/4 inches long, 3.5 inches wide, and 2 inches tall. The Mavic Air case measures 7.5 inches long, 4.5 inches wide, and 2 3/4 inches tall. Here you can see the Anafi in this case logic bag takes up the full length of the compartment, so the controller must go in a different spot. The Mavic Air takes up less space, so the drone and controller can both fit in this single spot. If you're planning on taking a charger, the Mavic Air uses a proprietary charger that can charge the battery in less than an hour. The only downside to the Mavic Air's charger is that it is quite large and will require extra space in your bag. The Anafi, on the other hand, can use any USB charger, but charge times will vary depending on the output of your charger. I have found the best charge times to be using a 2017 MacBook Pro USB-C PD charger at just over an hour and a half. The Anafi is very simple to unfold, and you can even unfold and power up the drone with one hand if needed. The Mavic Air, on the other hand, requires two hands and is a little bit more challenging to unfold. It is also easier to connect a device to the Anafi's controller. The SD card on the Anafi is located under the battery and is secured with a metal latch system. The Mavic Air uses an SD card slot located on the back of the drone. This slot is also recessed, so it can be very difficult to remove the card. I've seen many comments about the poor design of the Anafi's SD card system, but for me it is actually easier to access the card than the recessed slot on the Mavic Air. Moving on to startup times. The Anafi is able to unfold and power up in just over 20 seconds. The Mavic Air can be unfolded and powered up in under 50 seconds. On initial takeoff, the Anafi is very stable but tends to drift a bit when it connects to GPS. On initial takeoff, the Mavic Air is super stable and even more so when it connects to GPS. So on to the apps. The Parrot FreeFlight 6 app is very well laid out and is very intuitive. It is very easy to navigate and changing between camera settings is quick and easy. The app also has 14 different automated flight modes. You can also exit any of the automated flight modes by moving the control inputs on the controller. This is a great feature because anytime you're using an automated flight mode, it's very important to be able to take control in the event of an emergency. The Parrot FreeFlight 6 app also does not include no-fly zone software, so you must be responsible about where you fly. The DJI Go 4 app is also very well laid out, but you have to go into different menus to access the different settings. The app enables you to customize the control inputs to fine-tune how the drone flies. One thing I noticed about some of the automated flight modes is that it will not allow you to take control of the craft in an emergency. You must first hit the stop button, then hit a confirmation button to get out of the flight mode. The app also displays warnings, but you must close them to remove this from the screen. This can cause the display to be a bit busy, especially if you're using a smaller device. One of my favorite features about the DJI app is the battery status bar. This creates a great visual of how much time you have in relationship to how far you are from the home point. The app also includes obstacle avoidance in the front and the back, as well as APAS. APAS will automatically create a route around objects to the left, to the right, or above to avoid an object. The DJI app also includes no-fly zone software that will not allow you to take off if it recognizes it is in a no-fly zone. Some no-fly zones can be unlocked through a process within the app. So let's go over the camera settings. The Anafi can do 4K and 1080p. It is able to do 4K at 24, 25, and 30 frames per second. 1080p can be filmed at 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, and 60 frames per second. It can also do 4K in HDR and has a natural and P-Log color profile. The DJI Mavic Air can do 4K, 2.7K, 1080, and 720p. It can do 4K at 24, 25, and 30 frames per second, 2.7K at 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, and 60 frames per second. 1080 and 720p can be filmed at 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, 60, and 120 frames per second. In 120 frames per second, the app will create the slow motion for you and be played back at 30 frames per second. The Mavic Air also has two color profiles, D-Cine-like and normal. It also has the addition of picture styles where you can create a custom profile and dial in the sharpness, saturation, and contrast. Both apps have auto and manual exposure controls. The DJI app also includes a histogram, which really helps in getting correct exposure. So let's take a look at some footage and see what these drones can do. Tokyo. So let's go over some pros and cons about both drones, and we'll start off with the Anafi. The Anafi is very quiet compared to the Mavic Air. It is probably the least noisy drone on the market right now. It also has a 25-minute flight time, which is the best flight time for a drone in this price range. The Anafi is extremely easy to unfold and can quickly get in the air. The flight controls are extremely smooth and responsive, and this really helps in getting very smooth footage. All of the flight modes work extremely well and really help to get those difficult shots. The 4K camera quality is excellent, and the gimbal has the ability to look up. The lossless zoom is extremely handy, and I have actually found myself using it more than I initially thought I would. The Anafi also does not include NFC software, so this can be a pro or con depending on how you feel about no-fly zone software. Now let's talk about the cons. The Anafi does not have any type of obstacle avoidance, so you must make sure the area is clear when using automated flight modes. Currently, battery charge times can exceed an hour and a half and more depending on the output of your charger. The Anafi also tends to drift a bit at low altitude when it connects to GPS. This can cause users to lose confidence in the stability of the drone. The Anafi camera cannot film in 2.7K, 720p, or anything at 120 frames per second. The Anafi does not have customizable picture styles, so you cannot change the sharpness, saturation, or contrast. The Anafi also does not have a histogram, so filming in P-Log can be a bit challenging to get correct exposure. So let's go over some pros of the Mavic Air. The two big ones that the Mavic Air has are obstacle avoidance and APAS. These two features alone are quite impressive and really goes to show how much technology DJI has been able to put into this drone. The Mavic Air can fold up super compact and takes up less space than the Anafi. In the app, you can customize control inputs and picture styles. Like all DJI products, the drone is extremely stable at low altitude, which really instills confidence in the craft. The camera can film in many different resolutions and frame rates, and as well has a histogram, which is typically seen on more pro level cameras. Now let's talk about the cons. The Mavic Air is extremely loud and can only fly for about 19 minutes, even less if using obstacle avoidance in APAS. When using some of the automated flight modes, you must also hit the stop button in the event of emergency. Unfolding the craft and getting your device into the controller can be a bit challenging and will delay you getting in the air. When flying forward at a high rate of speed, the props have a tendency to get in the shot, so you may find yourself having to tilt the gimbal down. The Mavic Air also, as with all DJI drones, has no fly zone software. Again, this can be a pro or con depending on how you feel about restrictive software. So there you have it, a quick rundown of the Mavic Air and the Anafi. I did not go into detail about the apps just because both of them have a ton of features and it would just take too long to cover in one video. If you would like to see my full review of the Anafi, I'll post a link in the description below. So which drone is best for you? Well, I really like both of these drones a lot. And it's really going to come down to your must-haves. If you must have multiple resolutions, higher frame rates, and the smallest footprint possible, then the DJI Mavic Air is definitely the drone for you. If your must-haves include a 25-minute flight time, super quiet, the ability to zoom and look up, and no restrictive software, then the Anafi's for you. In terms of bang for your buck, the winner definitely is the Mavic Air. The APAS, obstacle avoidance, and multiple camera settings are just a ton of extra features that are definitely well worth the money. DJI also has recently lowered the price of the Mavic Air due to the upcoming release of the Mavic Pro 2. The camera quality on both these drones is pretty evenly matched when it comes to the detail of the 4K. I actually prefer the color of the footage from the Mavic Air, but the Anafi looks really good too, especially if you're using ND filters, which I will cover in another video. So what's my pick? I actually prefer the Anafi mainly for two reasons: noise and flight time. The Anafi is super quiet compared to the Mavic Air. The Mavic Air is just way too loud for my use and it attracts way too much attention. The Anafi can also fly for 25 minutes. This gives you a lot of time to get multiple shots. The Anafi also has several other features that I really like, but these two are the main reasons why I chose it. So what's your pick? If you have some pros and cons of either drone you'd like to add, please leave a comment as it may help others in their choice. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this and our other travel videos, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Have a great day and we'll see you next time.